चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशकारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरकृष्णे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधा वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमोस्तुते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायत पत्र नेत्रे येन त्वया भारत तैलपूर्णः प्रज्वलितो ज्ञानमय प्रदीपः प्रपन्न परिजाताय पुत्रवैत्रैकपाणे ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। Studying chapter 10 of Bhagavad-gita, the opulences of the Absolute. Lord Krishna spoke of his opulence as the creator or the source of everything. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanditaha. He also told that he is the source of the demigods, the sages, the progenitors, and he knows everyone and no one else knows him completely. So that's his Aishwarya, Vibhuti. After hearing Krishna's claim, now Arjuna will give his feedback or his explanation on what he has understood. So far in the entire Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna has only asked questions to Krishna. Nowhere he has given his response as a feedback or what did he understand. But now Arjuna will say to Krishna that he agrees everything that Krishna says or has said so far. So we have already discussed these verses when we were doing the introduction to Bhagavad Gita as it is. Arjuna uvacha param brahma param dhamma pavitram paramam bhavan purusham shashvatam divyam adidevam ajam vigum ahustam rishaya sarve devarshi naradastatha asito devada vyaso swayam chaiva bravishime. Arjuna said, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narada, Asita, Devada, and Vyasa confirm this truth about you. And now you yourself are declaring it to me. So this is Arjuna's claim after hearing Bhagavad Gita so far from Krishna. That Krishna is Param Brahma, the Supreme Absolute Truth. We'll read the purport. In these two verses, the Supreme Lord gives a chance to the Mayavadi philosopher. For it is clear that the Supreme is different from the individual soul. Arjuna, after hearing the essential 4 verses of Bhagavad Gita in this chapter, became completely free from all doubts. and accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He at once boldly declares, "You are Param Brahma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead," and previously stated that he is the originator of everything and everyone. Every demigod and every human being is dependent on him. Men and demigods, out of ignorance, think that they are absolute and independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That ignorance is removed completely by the discharge of devotional service. This has already been explained in the previous verse by the Lord. Now, by his grace, Arjuna is accepting him as the supreme truth in concordance with the Vedic injunction. It is not that because Krishna is Arjuna's intimate friend, Arjuna is flattering him by calling him the Supreme Personality of God, the absolute truth. Whatever Arjuna says in these two verses is confirmed by Vedic truth. Vedic injunctions affirms that only one who takes to devotional service to the Lord can understand him, whereas others cannot. Each and every word of this verse spoken by Arjuna is confirmed by Vedic injunction. Let's read the next paragraph. Shri Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. In the Kena Upanishad, it is stated that the Supreme Brahman is the rest for everything, and Krishna has already explained that everything is resting on him. The Mundaka Upanishad confirms that the Supreme Lord, in whom everything is resting, can be realized only by those who engage constantly in thinking of him. The constant thinking of Krishna is smaranam, one of the methods of devotional service. It is only by devotional service to Krishna that one can understand his position and get rid of this material body. In the Vedas, the Supreme Lord is accepted as the purest of the pure. One who understands that Krishna is the purest of the pure can become purified from all sinful activities. One cannot be disinfected from sinful activities unless he surrenders unto the Supreme Lord. Arjuna's acceptance of Krishna as the supreme pure complies with the injunctions of Vedic literature. This is also confirmed by great personalities, of whom Narada is the chief. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and one should always meditate upon him and enjoy one's transcendental relationship with him. He is the supreme existence. He is free from bodily needs, birth, and death. Not only does Arjuna confirm this, but all the Vedic literatures, the Puranas, and the histories. In all Vedic literatures, Krishna is thus described, and the Supreme Lord himself also says in the fourth chapter, "Although I am unborn, I appear on this earth to establish religious principles." He is the supreme origin. He has no cause, for he is the cause of all causes, and everything is emanating from him. This perfect knowledge can be had by the grace of the Supreme Lord. Here, Arjuna expresses himself through the grace of Krishna. If we want to understand Bhagavad-gita, we should accept the statements in these two verses. This is called the Parampara system, acceptance of the disciplic succession. Unless one is in the disciplic succession, he cannot understand Bhagavad-gita. It is not possible by so-called academic education. Unfortunately, those proud of their academic education, despite so much evidence in Vedic literatures, stick to their obstinate conviction that Krishna is an ordinary person. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Arjuna is not flattering Krishna. Arjuna is saying that I accept you as the supreme, as you say, and also great sages, they confirm about your supremacy. Hmm? सर्वमेतद्रितं मन्ये यन्मा वदसि केशव न हि ते भगवन् व्यक्तिं विदुर्देवा न दानवः. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. Usha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Arjuna herein confirms that persons of faithless and demonic nature cannot understand Krishna. He is not known even by the demigods, so what to speak of the so-called scholars of this modern world? By the grace of the Supreme Lord, Arjuna has understood that the Supreme Lord is Krishna and that he is the perfect one. One should therefore follow the path of Arjuna. He received the authority of Bhagavad-gita. As described in the fourth chapter, the parampara system of disciplic succession for understanding of Bhagavad-gita was lost, and therefore Krishna re-established that disciplic succession with Arjuna because he considered Arjuna his intimate friend and a great devotee. Therefore, as stated in our introduction of Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita should be understood in the parampara system. When the parampara system was lost, Arjuna was selected to rejuvenate it. The acceptance by Arjuna of all that Krishna says should be emulated. Then we should understand the essence of Bhagavad Gita, and then only we can understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you. Next verse. Swayam evatmanatmanam vetva tvam purushottama bhuta bhavana bhutesha deva deva jagatpate. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your internal potency. O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe. So Arjuna addresses Krishna here as Purushottama, Bhuta Bhavana, Bhutesha, Deva Deva, Jagatpate. 5 different orders of authoritative position. So ultimate authority position is Jagatpate, Lord of the universe. Perfect. Abhishek Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam. The Supreme Lord Krishna can be known by persons who are in relationship with him through the discharge of devotional services like Arjuna and his followers. Persons of the demonic or atheistic mentality cannot know Krishna. Mental speculation that leads one away from the Supreme Lord is a serious sin, and one who does not know the Krishna should not try to comment on Bhagavad-gita. Bhagavad-gita is a statement of Krishna, and since it is the science of Krishna, it should be understood from the Krishna as Arjun understood it. It should not be received from the atheistic persons. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.11, Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yad jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti sabdayate. The supreme truth is realized in 3 aspects: as impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and at last as the supreme personality of the Godhead. So at the last stage of the understanding the supreme truth, one comes to the supreme personality of the Godhead. A common man or even a liberated man who has realized impersonal Brahman or localized Paramatma may not understand God's personality. Such men, therefore, may endeavor to understand the supreme person from the verses of the Bhagavad Gita which are being spoken by this person, Krishna. Sometimes the impersonalists accept Krishna as Bhagwan or they accept his authority. Yet many liberated persons cannot understand Krishna as Purushottama, the supreme person. Therefore, Arjuna addresses him as Purushottama. Yet one still may not understand that Krishna is the father of the all living entities. Therefore, Arjuna addresses him as a Bhutbhava. And if one comes to know and if he comes to know him as the supreme of all the living entities, still one may not know him as a supreme controller. Therefore, he is addressed here as Bhutesha, the supreme controller of everyone. And even if one knows Krishna as the supreme controller of all the living entities, still one may not know that he is the origin of all the demigods. Therefore, he addressed herein as Deva Deva, the worshipful god of all demigods. And even if one knows him as as the worshipful god of all the demigods, one may not know that he is the supreme properator of everything. Therefore, he is addressed as Jagatpati. Thus, the truth about Krishna is established in this verse by the realization of the Arjuna, and we should follow in the footsteps of the Arjuna to understand Krishna as he is. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, thank you. So what are the meanings of the terms? Purushottama, Bhut Bhavana, Bhutesha, Deva Deva, Jagatpate.
Supreme proprietor. Jagatpate, supreme proprietor.
Purushottama is father of all living entities.
Purushottama is the best of all living entities. The best, Purusha, Uttama. Then Bhuta Bhavana is the father of all living entities. Even Lord Shiva is sometimes known as Bhuta Bhavana. Then he's saying, no, he's Bhutesha. He's the supreme controller of everyone. Even Lord Shiva is sometimes known as Bhutesha. So Deva Deva, amongst the demigods, he is the worshipful demigod. And then finally,
Lord of the universe.
Jagatpati.
Jagatpati.
Vaktum arhasi aseshena divya hi atma vibhutayah yabhi vibhuti lokan imamstam vyapyatishtasi. Please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds. Krishna already mentioned before that in essence is everything and he's all pervading. Everything is created by him. So Arjuna is asking here in detail, please tell me how you pervade everything. This can help Arjuna to meditate on Krishna by connecting everything to Krishna. So therefore he's asking this question. Please tell me in detail, how do you pervade the entire world? Vibhuti bhi, opulences. So Vibhuti is a specific opulence of Krishna. It's explained very nicely by Baldev Vidyabhushan. What is Vibhuti? He says. So she defines in this way. He says, Vibhutis are uniquely powerful objects which define the law, or Vibhutis are limited representations of his energies. They suggest the power of the law of all things. These are the definitions of the word Vibhuti. So, Krishna will start describing, but before that, let's see the purport. So, this is a small purport. Gunagraya Garampu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat. So purport. So in this verse, it appears that Arjuna is already satisfied with his understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. By Krishna's grace, Arjuna has personal experience, intelligence, and knowledge, and whatever else a person may have. And though all these agencies, he has understood Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For him, there is no doubt Yet he is asking Krishna to explain his all-pervading nature. People in general and the impersonalist in particular concern themselves mainly with the all-pervading nature of the Supreme. So Arjuna is asking Krishna how he exists in his all-pervading aspect through his different energies. One should know that this is being asked by Arjuna on behalf of the common people. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Next verse. Katham vidyam aham yogim tvam sada parichintayam keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintyosi bhagavan maya. Three questions he's asking here. Katham vidyam aham yogim tvam sada parichintayam. O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you? And how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? It's asking three questions. How shall I constantly think of you? How shall I know you? In what all forms are you to be remembered? Three hows. So a very important lesson which we can derive from here is, so far Arjuna's questions were of different type. And now Arjuna's question is of different type. And that's very natural. When you come to devotional service, the initial type of questions are what and why. What is this and why this? But then as you begin to accept and understand, then your question is not about what and why. Then your question is how. Right? Initially, why should I chant? Now, how should I chant? Initially, why should I study the books of Prabhupada every day? Now, how should I study the books? Why should I observe Ekadashi? Now, how should I observe Ekadashi? So the type of questions change, right? When acceptance comes. So here Arjuna is asking, Krishna told him, Manmana abhamad bhakto, always think of me. So many times he has told. So here Arjuna is asking, how shall I always think of you? How shall I constantly think of you? In what all forms are you to be remembered? Right? So he's asking like that. Three questions he's asking to Krishna. And Krishna will respond on those questions from verse number 19. Purport. Neha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. As it is stated in the previous chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is covered by his Yoga Maya. Only surrendered souls and devotees can see him. Now Arjuna is convinced that his friend Krishna is the Supreme Godhead, but he wants to know the general process by which the all-pervading Lord can be understood by the common man. Common men, including the demons and atheists, cannot know Krishna because he is guarded by his Yogamaya energy. Again, these questions are asked by Arjuna for their benefit. The superior devotee is concerned not only for his own understanding but for the understanding of all mankind. So, Arjuna, out of his mercy, because he is a Vaishnava, a devotee, is opening for the common man the understanding of the all pervasiveness of the Supreme Lord. He addresses Krishna specifically as Yogin because Sri Krishna is the master of the Yoga Maya energy by which he is covered and uncovered to the common man. The common man who has no love for Krishna cannot always think of Krishna. Therefore, he has to think materially. Arjuna is considering the mode of thinking of the materialistic persons of this world. The word keshu keshu cha bhaveshu refer to the material nature. The word bhava means physical things. Because materialists cannot understand Krishna spiritually, they are advised to concentrate the mind on physical things and try to see how Krishna is manifested by physical representations. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, that's the purpose. How to see Krishna in the physical representations. And that will be Krishna conscious all the time. Right? Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu. So Arjuna is doing this for common man who has no love for Krishna and cannot think of Krishna otherwise. Right? विस्तरेणात्मनो योगं विभूतिं च जनार्दन भूयः कथय तृप्तिर्हि शृण्वतो नास्ति मे मृतम्. O Janardana, again please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated. If Krishna says, I already told you enough, Arjuna. So he's saying, I am never satiated in hearing about you. For the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. Krishna already said, right? Aham sarvasya prabha. So that includes everything, all my opulences, all my vibhutis. And Arjuna is saying, no, I'm not satisfied. I want to hear more. Vishaka Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Prabhu. A similar statement was made to Sut Goswami by the rishis of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunak. That statement is, Vayam tu na vitripyama uttam shloka vikrame yat shrinvatam rasa jnanam swadu swadu pade pade. One can never be satiated, even though one continuously hears the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, who is glorified by excellent prayers. Those who have entered into a transcendental relationship with Krishna relish at every step the descriptions of the pastimes of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.19. Thus, Arjuna is interested in hearing about Krishna and specifically how he remains as the all-pervading Supreme Lord. Now, as far as Amritam, nectar, is concerned, any narration or statement concerning Krishna is just like nectar. And this nectar can be perceived by practical experience. Modern stories, fiction, and histories are different from the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, in that one will tire of hearing mundane stories. But one never tires of hearing about Krishna. It is for this reason only that the history of the whole universe is replete with references to the pastimes of the incarnations of Godhead. The Puranas are histories of bygone ages that relate the pastimes of the various incarnations of the Lord. In this way, the reading matter remains forever fresh despite repeated readings. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Any questions so far?
Hare Krishna Guruji. Guruji, just to confirm that you have mentioned that different name like Jagatpate or previously some name was there which was related to Lord Shiva also. So Jagatpate is also referred to some other demigods or only to Krishna?
Only to Krishna.
Yes. Okay. So here the concern is Krishna, Arjuna can also mention directly to this one, or there is any specific emphasize on that to mention all the other things to clarify the things, right? Is it so?
It is to clarify as well as to show that Krishna is the highest in all ways possible.
Okay, Paul. Okay, Paul. Thank you very much.
Any other question?
So, one more question I have. Can I ask?
Yes, sure.
So, the way Arjuna was in the initially we saw that he was a little bit confused. I mean, he was confused, and now he is so much interested to hearing about the opulences and the aspects related to Krishna. So, how we can also derive the more eagerness or what you call, more taste to hearing about the Krishna's pastime or Leelas? Is it the only if we hearing those, then we'll derive the taste, or is there any other what you call other catalyst is also there? If you mention, I guess.
Taste comes in Krishna consciousness as a blessing. And that blessing comes to us when we sincerely follow the instructions. That instruction is hearing the holy name, hearing Krishna Katha, chanting. So all the basic instructions that Prabhupada has given, if you follow them sincerely with a desire to grow in Krishna consciousness, then the reaction that will come.
So once and go, this process itself gives us or qualify us to reach to that stage, right?
Yes. That's what we are studying in Madhurya Kadambini. Bhakti gives birth to ruchi or taste. Nothing else. Execution of bhakti will give birth to taste and Krishna consciousness. It's bhakti alone that will give the taste. Nothing else.
Okay, Guruji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other question? No? So we move on then. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Hanta te kathayishyami divya hi atma vibhutayah pradhanyatah kurusheshta nastyanto vistarasya me. Bhagavan Krishna is saying that Hantate kathayishyami. Yes, I'll tell you. Kathayishyami. Divya, divine, Atma Vibhutaya, my personal opulences. But which one? Pradhanyataha, principal ones, not all. There's no limit to his opulences. So he's saying the principal ones, Kurusheshta. Why? Na asti antaha vistarasya me. There's no limit. There's no limit to my opulences. So I just tell you the principal ones, the chief ones. The Supreme Personality of God said, yes, I'll tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent, Arjuna. For my opulence is limitless. There's no limit to it. Purport. Hello, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandot. It is not possible to comprehend the greatness of Krishna and his opulences. The senses of the individual soul are limited and do not permit him to understand the totality of Krishna's affairs. Still, the devotees try to understand Krishna, but not in the principle that they will be able to understand Krishna fully at any specific time or in any state of life. Rather, the very topics of Krishna are so relishable that they appear to the devotees as nectar. Thus, the devotees enjoy them in discussing Krishna's opulences and his diverse energies. The pure devotee take transcendental pleasure. Therefore, they want to hear and discuss them. Krishna knows that living entities do not understand the extent of his opulences. He therefore agrees to state only the principal manifestation of his different energies. The word pradhanyatah, principle, is very important because we can understand only a few of the principal details of the Supreme Lord, for his features are unlimited. It is not possible to understand them all and vibhuti as used in the verse refer to the opulences by which he controls the whole manifestation. In the Amara dictionary, it is stated that vibhuti indicates an exceptional opulences. The impersonalist or pathist cannot understand the exceptional opulences of the Supreme Lord, nor the manifestation of his divine energies. Both in the material world and in the spiritual world, his energies are distributed in every variety of manifestation. Now, Krishna is describing what can be directly perceived by the common man. Thus, part of his variegated energy is described in this way. Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat.
Hare Krishna. So, in the last paragraph, second paragraph with this purport, Prabhupada says the impersonalists or pantheists cannot understand the exceptional opulences of the Supreme Lord, not the manifestations of his divine energies. Both in the material and in the spiritual world, his energies are distributed in every variety of manifestation. Now, Krishna is describing what can be directly perceived by the common man. Thus, part of his variegated energy is describing this way. Aham Atma Gurakesh Sarvabhutashaya Sthitah Aham Adishya Madhyam Cha Bhutanam Anta Eva Cha. So this is his first opulence. I am the super soul of Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. As super soul, what is special about him? He is present everywhere and he knows everything. So that's an amazing opulence of Krishna. He's seated in everyone's heart, right? Rising Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. In this verse, Arjuna is addressed as Gurakesha, which means one who has conquered the darkness of sleep. For those who are sleeping in the darkness of ignorance, it is not possible to understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself in various ways in the material and spiritual worlds. Thus, this address by Krishna to Arjuna is significant because Arjuna is above such darkness. The personality of Godhead agrees to describe his various opulences. Krishna first informs Arjuna that he is the soul of the entire cosmic manifestation by dint of his primary expansion. Before the material creation, the Supreme Lord, by his plenary expansion, accepts the Purusha incarnation, and from him everything begins. Therefore, he is Atma, the soul of the Mahatattva, the universal element. The total material energy is not the cause of the creation. Actually, the Mahavishnu enters into the Mahatattva, the total material energy. He is the soul. When Mahavishnu enters into the manifested universes, he again manifests himself as the super soul in each and every entity. We have experienced that the personal body of the living entity exists due to the presence of the spiritual spark. Without the existence of the spiritual spark, the body cannot develop. Similarly, the material manifestation cannot develop unless the Supreme Soul, Krishna, enters. As stated in the Subala Upanishad, Prakritir Adi Sarva Bhutantar Yami Sarva Sheshicha Narayanaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is existing as the Super Soul in all manifested universes. The three Purusha avatars are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. They are also described in Tatvata Tantra. Vishnostu Trini Rupani Purushakyani Ato Vidhu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests three features as Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu in this material manifestation. The Mahavishnu or Karanodakshaya Vishnu is described in the Brahma Samhita 5.47. Ye Karanarnava Jale Bhajati Sma Yoga Nidra. The Supreme Lord Krishna, the cause of all causes, lies down in the cosmic ocean as Mahavishnu. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the beginning of this universe, the maintainer of the universe manifestation, and the end of all energy. Hare Krishna.
So in the Prabhupada mentions about the three Purusha incarnations. One is Mahavishnu, also known as Karunadaksha Vishnu, lying in the Karan Sagar. Then there's Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and then there's Shiradaksha Vishnu. And all three of them, they act as super soul or Atma. The first is Karunadaksha Vishnu, who is the source of the entire material creation. As you can see in the painting here, from him comes the innumerable universes. And he's the super soul of all of that. Hmm. Now, once these universes are out from him, then each of those universes needs to have life. The universes cannot grow on their own. So for the functions to happen within the universe, the Lord enters each universe as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, bringing life to the universe. Because the Lord enters the universe starts growing or expanding. And then, once the universe is ready for use, the Lord enters every single living entity's heart as Shiradaksha Vishnu, Paramatma. So all these three are Paramatmas. Just the scope of their witness or surveillance is different. As Shiradaksha Vishnu is Paramatma for every living entity. As Garbhodaksha Vishnu is Paramatma for one universe. As Mahavishnu or Karnadaksha Vishnu is Paramatma of the entire material creation. Okay?
Krishna Prabhu, Karuna Dakasai Vishnu is also Mahavishnu.
Yeah, same. Both are same.
Okay.
Two names, same personality. Mahavishnu or Karnadaksha Vishnu.
Okay. Thank you.
Now further Lord will enlist all the different vibhutis. There are two ways of describing the vibhutis. One is an outstanding member of a group, and the other is indicating a relationship. Like to give you an example, if Krishna says, of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. This is example of first type of vibhuti, an outstanding member of a group. Right? And then when Krishna says that, let's go to the next one. Bhutanam asmi chetana. In the living beings, I am the living force. So here, this is not a category and an outstanding member of that category. Here, it's a relationship. That in the living beings, what is that gives life to the living beings? Or Chaitana, right? The symptom of life. So in this way, he describes the opulences of the Bhutas. Fine. Now we'll quickly go through the list. Adityanamaham Vishnur Jyotisham Raviram Shuman Marichir Marutamasmi Nakshatranamaham Shashi. Of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Which Vishnu? What's the name of that Vishnu?
Shirodakashayi Vishnu?
No. Of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Which Vishnu?
Mahavishnu.
Mahavishnu.
This is the Brahma Vishnu Mahesh Vishnu Prabhuji, of the three.
This is Upendra or Vamana.
Vamandev.
Vamandev. Aditya means sons of Aditi. So there are 12 sons of Aditi, and one of those is Upendra or Vamana. So I am that. Of lights, I am the radiant sun. Of the Maruts, I am Marichi. And amongst the stars, I am the moon. Moon is not a planet, moon is a star. Scripture says so. Nakshatra, not Graha, right? So it's not a planet, it's a star. There are 12 Adityas, of which Krishna is the principal. Among all the luminaries shining in the sky, the sun is the chief. And the Brahma Samhita, the sun is accepted as the glowing eye of the Supreme Lord. There are 50 varieties of wind blowing in space, and of these winds, the controlling deity Marichi represents Krishna. Amongst the stars, the moon is the most prominent at night, and thus the moon represents Krishna. It appears from this verse that the moon is one of the stars. And therefore, the stars that twinkle in the sky also reflect the light of the sun. The theory that there are many suns within the universe is not accepted by Vedic scripture. The sun is one. As well as the reflection of the sun, the moon illuminates, so also the stars. Since Bhagavad-gita indicates herein that the moon is one of the stars, the twinkling stars are not suns, but are similar to the moon. Sridhi Prabhu, your question is, in Navagraha, moon is also included. Why moon is included in Navagraha? Not because moon is a graha, but moon is included as one of the 9 planets because of its strong influence on planet Earth. It's not a planet, it's a nakshatra, but because of its strong influence astrologically, that's why it is included as a planet, but it's not a planet in that sense. Vedanam samavedosmi devanamasmi vasavaham indriyanam manaschashmi bhutanamasmi chetana. Of the Vedas, I am the Samaved. Of the demigods, I am Indra, the king of heaven. Of the senses, I am the mind. And in living beings, I am the living force, consciousness. Rudranam Shankaraschasmi Vitteshu Yaksharakshasam Vasunam Bhavakaschasmi Meru Shikharinamaham. Of all the Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. Of the Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am the Lord of Wealth, Kuvera. Of the Vasus, I am fire, Agni. And of mountains, I am Meru. Puruddhasam cha mukhyam mam Vidhipartha Brihaspatim Senaninam Aham Skandaha Sarasam Asmi Sagaraha. Of priests, O Arjuna, know me to be the chief Brihaspati. Of generals, I am Kartikeya. And of bodies of water, I am the ocean. Someone please read this purport. I didn't know.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Danat Pranam. Indra is the chief demigod of the heavenly planets and is known as the king of the heavens. The planet on which he reigns is called Indraloka. Brahaspati is Indra's priest, and since Indra is the chief of all kings, Brahaspati is the chief of all priests. And as Indra is the chief of all kings, similarly, Skanda or Kartikeya, the son of Parvati and Lord Shiva, is the chief of all military commanders. And of all bodies of water, the ocean is the greatest. These representations of Krishna only give hints of his greatness. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Maharshina Brihur Aham Giramasmi Ekamaksharam Yajnanam Japa Yagyosmi Stavaranam Himalayaham. Of the great sages, I am Bhrigu. Of vibrations, I am the transcendental Om. Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names, Japa. And of immovable things, I am the Himalayas. Rupanshu Mataji.
Brahma, the first living creature within the universe, created several suns of the propagation of various kinds of species. Among these sons, Bhrigu is the most powerful sage. Of all the transcendental vibration, Omkara represent Krishna. Of all the sacrifices, the chanting of Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare is the purest representation of Krishna. Sometimes animal sacrifices are recommended, but in the sacrifice of Hare Krishna, there is no question of violence. It is the simplest and the purest. Whatever is sublime in the world is a representation of Krishna. Therefore, the Himalayas, the greatest mountain in the world, also represent him. The mountain named Meru was mentioned in the previous verse, but Meru is sometimes movable, whereas the Himalayas are never movable. Thus, the Himalayas are greater than Meru. Hare Krishna.
Ashvatha sarvavrikshanam devashinam च नारदः Gandharvanam chitraratah siddhanam kapilo munihi. Of all trees, I am the banyan tree. Of all the sages, I am among the demigods, I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas, I am Chitraratha. And among perfected beings, I am the sage Kapil. Uma Mataji.
Krishna Prabhu Dandavat. The banyan tree, Ashwatha, is one of the highest and most beautiful trees, and people in India often worship it as one of their daily morning rituals. Among the demigods, they also worship Narada, who is considered the greatest devotee in the universe. Thus, he is the representation of Krishna as a devotee. The Gandharva planet is filled with entities who sing beautifully, and among them the best singer is Chitraratha. Among the perfect living entities, Kapil, the son of Devahuti, is a representative of Krishna. He is considered an incarnation of Krishna, and his philosophy is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Later on, another Kapil became famous, but his philosophy was atheistic. Thus, there is a gulf of difference between them. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Ucheshavasam ashvanam yathimam amritotbhavam airavatam gajendranam naranam cha naradipam. Of horses know me to be Ucheshava, produced during the churning of the ocean for nectar. Of lordly elephants, I am Airavat, and among men, I am the monarch. Popat. Devesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat. The devotee demigods and the demons, asuras, once took part in churning the sea. From this churning, nectar and poison were produced, and Lord Shiva drank the poison. From the nectar were produced many entities, of which there was a horse named Ucheshrava. Another animal produced from the nectar was an elephant named Airavat. Because these two animals were produced from nectar, they have special significance, and they are representatives of Krishna. Amongst the human beings, the king is a representative of Krishna, because Krishna is the maintainer of the universe, and the kings who are appointed on account of their godly qualifications are maintainer of the kingdoms. Kings like Maharaj Yudhishthir, Maharaj Parikshit, and Lord Ram were all highly righteous kings who always thought of the citizens' welfare. In Vedic literature, the king is considered to be the representation of God. In this age, however, with the corruption of the principles of religion, monarchy decayed and is now finally abolished. It is to be understood that in the past, however, people were more happy under righteous kings. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Ayudhanamaham vajram dhenunamasmi kamaduk prajanashyasmi kandarpah sarpanamas asmi vasukihi. Of weapons I am thunderbolt, among cows I am the surbi, of causes of procreation I am Kandarpa, the god of love, and of servants I am Vasuki, serpents I am Vasuki. Sanatana Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Purport. The thunderbolt, indeed a mighty weapon, represents Krishna's power. In Krishna Lok, in the spiritual sky, there are cows which can be milked at any time, and they give as much milk as one likes. Of course, such cows do not exist in this material world, but there is mention of them in Krishna Lok. The Lord keeps many such cows which are called Surabhi. It is stated that the Lord is engaged in herding the Surabhi cows. Kandarpa is the sixth desire for presenting good sons. Therefore, Kandarpa is the representative of Krishna. Sometimes sex is engaged in only for sense gratification. Such sex does not represent Krishna, but sex for the generation of good children is called Kandarpa and represents Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Next verse. Anantaschasmi naganam varuno yad samaham pitrinam aryama chasmi yamaha samyamatamaham. Of the many hooded Nagas, I am Ananta, and among the aquatics, I am the demigod Varuna. Of departed ancestors, I am Aryama, and among the dispensers of law, I am Yama, the Lord of Death.
Hare Krishna, Prabhupada. Among the many hooded Naga serpents, Ananta is the greatest, as is the demigod Varuna among the aquatics. They both represent Krishna. There is also a planet of Pitas, ancestors, presided over by Aryama, who represents Krishna. So there are many living entities who give punishment to the miscreants, and among them Yama is the chief. Yama is situated in a planet near this earthly planet. After death, those who are very sinful are taken there, and Yama arranges different kinds of punishments for them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prahladaschasmi daityanam kalaha kalayatamaham mriganam sarmigendroham vainityasya pakshinam. Among the Daitya demons, I am the devoted Prahlada. Among subduers, I am time. Among beasts, I am the lion. And among birds, I am Garuda. Diti and Aditi are two sisters. The sons of Aditi are called Adityas, and the sons of Diti are called Daityas. All the Adityas are devotees of the Lord, and all the Daityas are atheistic. Although Prahlad was born in the family of the Daityas, he was a great devotee from his childhood. Because of his devotional service and godly nature, he is considered to be a representative of Krishna. There are many subduing principles, but time wears down all things in the material universe, and so represents Krishna. Of the many animals, the lion is the most powerful and ferocious, and of the million varieties of birds, Garuda, the bearer of Lord Vishnu, is the great. Next verse. Pavanah pavitamasmi Ramah shastrabhitamaham Jhasha nam makaraschasmi Shrotasam asmi janavi. Of purifiers, I am the wind. Of the builders of weapons, I am Ram. Of fishes, I am the shark. And of flowing rivers, I am the Ganges. Sarganam adirantascha madhyam chaivaham Arjuna adhyatma vidya vidyanam vadah pravatatam aham. Of all creations, I am the beginning and the end, and also the middle, O Arjuna. Of all sciences, I am the spiritual science of the self, and among logicians, I am the conclusive truth. Vishwapati Mukund Bhuma.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. For advanced education, there are various kinds of books.
Among the created manifestations.
Among the created manifestation, the first creation of the total material. The first is the creation of the total material elements. As explained before, the cosmic manifestation is created and conducted by Mahavishnu. Garbhodakashayi Vishnu and Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, and then again it is annihilated by Lord Shiva. Brahma is a secondary creator. All these agents of creation, maintenance, and annihilation are incarnations of the material qualities of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, he is the beginning, the middle, and the end of all creation. For advanced education, there are various kinds of books of knowledge, such as the four Vedas, their six supplements, the Vedanta Sutra, books of logic, books of religiosity, and the Puranas. So altogether, there are 14 divisions of books of education. Of these, the book which presents Adhyatma Vidya, spiritual knowledge, in particular, the Vedanta Sutra represents Krishna. Among logicians, there are different kinds of argument. Supporting one's argument with evidence that also supports the opposing side is called Jalpa. Merely trying to defeat one's opponent is called Vitanda. But the actual conclusion is called, Prabhu, can you please scroll up? Is called Vada. This conclusive truth is a representation of Krishna. Okay, Prabhu.
So what is meant by these three types of discussions? Jalpa, and then there is, just a second now.
Vitanda.
Vitanda and Vada. Jalpa means you use different means to defeat the opponent or fool the opponent. It's an unfair argument. Then Vitanda is a destructive argument. Where you are trying to defeat the other's arguments but not proving your own point. And Vada is discussion carried out fairly according to standard rules without trying to force the other person to accept the truth conclusion. And Krishna says, I'm that kind of argument or discussion. So here I have a question. Krishna says, of the beasts, I am lion, right? So we can say lion is a vibhuti of Krishna. Lion is extremely powerful animal. If I watch a lion on television, or I watch a lion in life, will watching that lion make me equally Krishna conscious as looking at a picture of Lord Nrsimhadev?
No.
No. No, Prabhu. Unless we have the consciousness that he is a part.
But lion is the vibhuti of Krishna.
The power within the lion is Krishna. So if we consider Krishna everywhere, then probably yes.
If we watch the lion with that attitude that this is Krishna's material form, Vibhuti,
then
probably we can.
No, lion is Krishna's vibhuti.
Then it's the same. Looking at Nrsimhadev and looking at the lion.
No, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, Nrsimhadev is direct incarnation of Krishna, but lion is just a vibhuti, and power within that lion is coming from Krishna. So both are absolutely completely different, Prabhuji.
So what is the difference?
Nrsimhadev is a direct incarnation of Krishna who came down to save Prahlad Maharaj and kill Hiranyakashipu. Lion is just an animal who has come to that particular species because of his reactions. But that power within that lion has come from Krishna.
Prabhuji, lion is in Maya, under the Maya material, And Lord Krishna is like, he is the supreme source.
That is true. That is fine. But then Lord Krishna is telling, no, lion is my vibhuti.
So, Prabhu,
So,
Narsimha is Krishna himself and lion is a part of Krishna.
All the energy the lion is getting from Krishna only, no? That he is a part and parcel of Krishna. Like he is having Anu Atma, no?
so how do we understand the concept of vibhutis? It's a concept of vibhutis is in, or how will that help us in any way becoming more Krishna conscious? So when we look at a lion, if I just look at a lion, that's not going to help me to be Krishna conscious.
We see all equal, no? Whether it is a dog or a lion, it is just a out case.
So if you look at a lion, it's not going to help you to uh, become Krishna conscious. Only when you see the lion's power as coming from Krishna, then it's going to help us become Krishna conscious. So vibhuti is just experiencing the vibhuti or seeing the vibhuti doesn't make you Krishna conscious. You'll have to see the relationship of the vibhuti with Krishna. Fine. That's right. Vibhuti is a material, manifestation of Krishna's greatness or energy. When you talk about Narsingadev, you don't have to see any relationship with Narsingadev and Krishna. You see Narsingadev as Narsingadev alone. And that will make us Krishna conscious. Right. You don't have to see that Narsingadev is an avatar of Krishna or Narsingadev has got a relationship with Krishna. Narsingadev, you just take darshan of Narsingadev without even knowing who is Narsingadev, you get spiritual benefit. You get the growth in Krishna consciousness. But you just see a lion, just seeing a lion will not help anyway in Krishna consciousness until unless the relationship of lion is seen with Krishna. So that's the difference between vibhuti and avatar. Yeah. Right. Vibhuti is material. And therefore its relationship has to be seen with Krishna to help us become Krishna conscious. Okay. Next. Aksharanamakarosmi dvandvah samasikasya cha aham evakshaya kalo dhataham vishvatomukha. Of the letters, I am the letter A or A, and among compound words, I am the dual compound. I am also inexhaustible of time, and of creators, I am Brahma. Yes, read Gunagrahika.
Hare Krishna. Akara, the first letter of the Sanskrit alphabet, is the beginning of the Vedic literature. Without Akara, nothing can be sounded. Therefore, it is the beginning of sound. In Sanskrit, there are also many compound words, of which the dual word, like Rama Krishna, is called Davandava. In this compound, the word Rama and Krishna have the same form, and therefore the compound is called dual. Among all kinds of killers, time is the ultimate because time kills everything. Time is the representative of Krishna because in due course of time, there will be a great fire and everything will be annihilated. Among the living entities who are creators, Brahma, who has 4 heads, is the chief. Therefore, he is a representative of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Mrityu sarvaharashchaham udbhavascha bhavishyatam kirtihi shrirvakcha narinam smritir medha dhriti shama. I am all devouring death, and I am the generating principle of all that is yet to be. Among women, I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. As soon as a man is born, he dies at every moment. Thus, death is devouring every living entity at every moment. But the last stroke is called death itself. That death is Krishna. As for future development, all living entities undergo 6 basic changes. They are born, they grow, they remain for some time, they produce, they dwindle, and finally they vanish. Of these changes, the first is deliverance from the womb, and that is Krishna. The first generation is the beginning of all future activities. The 7 opulences listed, fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience, are considered feminine. Some qualities are feminine, some qualities are masculine. If a person possesses all of them or some of them, he becomes glorious. If a man is famous as a righteous man, that makes him glorious. Sanskrit is a perfect language and is therefore very glorious. If after studying one can remember a subject matter, he's kept it with a good memory or smriti. And the ability not only to read many books on different subject matters, but to understand them and apply them when necessary is intelligence, medha, another opulence. The ability to overcome unsteadiness is called firmness or steadfastness. And when one is fully qualified, yet is humble and gentle, and when one is able to keep his balance between both in sorrow and in the ecstasy of joy, he has the opulence called patience, shama. So when Krishna says, among women, I am these qualities, what he wants to say is, of all the feminine qualities, these qualities are the best. And these qualities represent Krishna.
Hey Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes,
Can I ask
Prabhu.
one question?
Yeah, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, here Srila Prabhupada mentioned that the last stroke is called death itself, and the death is Krishna. Prabhuji, could you please explain what is the context here? I mean, what exactly meaning by this? Because as a living entity, as it is mentioned that from the beginning of our birth, death is nearing. So actually, just try to understand. I was thinking about the last stroke means what, and in the middle of the junction, so many things that is happening in our life, which is leading to death only. So how to understand this?
Your main question is, what is that last stroke, right?
Yes, Roji.
So, it is just a way of writing or explaining that Mrityu, as we are approaching death, we lose so many things, our health, our memory, everything. So the process of dying is devouring everything that we possess, right? Now, that process of dying or death has a last moment. So it is said that that last moment is like it's like if, let's say, you are fighting with an opponent. It's a boxing match. So the opponent is boxing you again and again. And then there is a last punch that makes you fall. Isn't it? So similarly, if death is seen as an enemy or as an opponent, the death is devouring us at every moment. But then there is a last punch or last stroke, which kills you and takes away the most valuable thing that you have. What is that? Prana, life. Isn't it? So that is meant here. The last stroke is called death itself. When you die, your prana is lost. Right?
Yeah. That means to emphasize the supremacy of that Lord, right? I mean the supremacy of every aspect that is explained here.
It's just like, you know, think about it this way, that the death is an opponent who is punching you. And the last punch is the most powerful punch because that takes your life away. So
Exactly.
all the punches or strokes that death plays on you, the last stroke is the most strong stroke.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So that stroke is Krishna. Because Krishna is the best of all.
Yes, sir.
So that stroke, the last stroke, is Krishna. Mhm. Fine. Next. Briyatsam tatha samam samnam gayatri chandasamaham masanam margasishoham vitunam kusumakaraha. Of the hymns in the Samaveda, I am the Brihat. Sam of poetry, I am the Gayatri. Of months, I am Margashirsha. And of seasons, I am flower-bearing spring. Tulasi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu pronounce. It has already been explained by the Lord that amongst all the Vedas, he is a Samaveda. The Samaveda is rich with beautiful songs played by the various demigods. One of these songs is the Brihat Sama, which has an exquisite melody and is sung at midnight. In Sanskrit, there are definite rules that regulate poetry. Rhyme and meter are not written whimsically, as in much modern poetry. Amongst the regulated poetry, the Gayatri Mantra, which is chanted by the duly qualified Brahmanas, is the most prominent. The Gayatri Mantra is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam because the Gayatri Mantra is especially meant for God realization. It represents the Supreme Lord. This mantra is meant for spiritually advanced people. And when one attains success in chanting it, he can enter into the transcendental position of the Lord. One must first acquire the qualities of the perfectly situated person, the qualities of goodness according to the laws of material nature, in order to chant Gayatri Mantra. The Gayatri Mantra is very important in Vedic civilization and is considered to be the sound incarnation of Brahman. Brahma is its initiator, and it is passed down from him in disciplic succession. The month of November-December is considered the best of all months because in India, grains are collected from the fields at this time and people become very happy. Of course, spring is the season universally liked because it is neither too hot nor too cold, and the flowers and trees blossom and flourish. In spring, there are also many ceremonies commemorating Krishna's pastimes. Therefore, this is considered to be the most joyful season of all seasons. Joyful of all seasons, and it is the representative of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Dyutam chalayatam asmi tejas tejasvinamaham jayosmi vivasayosmi satvam satpatamaham. I am also the gambling of cheats, and I am of the splendid, I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. There are many kinds of cheaters all over the universe. Of all cheating processes, gambling stands supreme. Why? Because in other uh, you know, instances, you don't know that you are going to be robbed, right? Someone comes and steals your money, you don't know that the other person was a thief. But when you gamble, you yourself are going to the thief openly and then getting robbed. So that's the height of cheating, that you know that the process is there to cheat you and still you get into it. As the Supreme Krishna can be more deceitful than any mere man. If Krishna chooses to deceive a person, no one can surpass him in his deceit. His greatness is not simply one-sided, it is all-sided. Among the victorious, he is victory. He is the splendor of the splendid. Among the enterprising and industrious, he is the most enterprising, the most industrious. Among adventurers, he is the most adventurous, and among the strong, he is the strongest. When Krishna was present on earth, no one could surpass him in strength. Even in his childhood, he lifted Govardhan hill. No one can surpass him in cheating. No one can surpass him in splendor. No one can surpass him in victory. No one can surpass him in enterprise. And no one can surpass him in strength. Vrishnina Vasudevosmi Pandavanam Dhananjayaham Muninamapyaham Vyasah Kavinam Ushana Kavihi. Of the descendants of Vrishni, I am Vasudeva, and of the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Of the sages, I am Vyasa, and among great thinkers, I am Ushana. Vishaka Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Prabhu. Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Baladev is Krishna's immediate expansion. Both Lord Krishna and Baladev appeared as sons of Vasudev, so both of them may be called Vasudev. From another point of view, because Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, all the forms of Krishna that appear elsewhere are his expansions. Vasudev is Krishna's immediate expansion, so Vasudev is not different from Krishna. It is to be understood that the Vasudev referred to in this verse of the Bhagavad-gita is Baladev, or Balaram, because he is the original source of all incarnations, and thus he is the sole source of Vasudev. The immediate expansions of the Lord are called Swamsha, personal expansions. And there are also expansions called Vibhinamsha, separated expansions. Among the sons of Pandu, Arjuna is famous as Dhananjaya. He is the best of men and therefore represents Krishna. Among the Munis or learned men conversant in Vedic knowledge, Vyasa is the greatest because he explained Vedic knowledge in many different ways for the understanding of the common mass of people in this age of Kali. And Vyas is also known as an incarnation of Krishna. Therefore, Vyas also represents Krishna. Kavis are those who are capable of thinking thoroughly on any subject matter. Among the Kavis, Ushana, Shukracharya, was the spiritual master of the demons. He was an extremely intelligent and far-seeing politician. Thus, Shukracharya is another representative of the opulence of Krishna.
Dandodamayatamasmi Nitirasmi Jigishatam Maunam Chaivasmi Guhyanam Jnanam Jnanavatamaham. Among all means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment. And of those who seek victory, I am morality. Of secret things, I am silence. And of the wise, I am the wisdom. Shridi Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. There are many suppressing agents, of which the most important are those that cut down miscreants. When miscreants are punished, the agency of chastisement represents Krishna. Among those who are trying to be victorious in some field of activity, the most victorious element is morality. Among the confidential activities of hearing, thinking, and meditating, silence is most important because by silence one can make progress very quickly. The wise man is he who can discriminate between matter and spirit, between God's superior and inferior natures. Such knowledge is Krishna himself. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yachapi sarvabhutanam bijam tadam arjuna na tad asti vina yatsyan maya bhutam characharam. Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existence. There is no being, moving or non-moving, that can exist without me. Na antosti mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa esha tuddeshatah prokto vibhuter vistaro maya. So now you say, na antasti, there is no end. There is no end. To what? To my divyanam, to my opulences, divine manifestations. Vibhutinam parantapa. Almighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. Only few examples are given here. And then he says a general thing. Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam srimad urjitameva va tattadevavagachattam mama tejamsha sambhavam. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Right? So any glorious or beautiful existence should be understood to be but a fragmental manifestation of Krishna's opulence, whether it be in the spiritual or material world. Anything extraordinarily opulent should be considered to represent Krishna's opulence. Athava bahunaitena kim gyatena tavajuna vishtabhyahamidam kritsnam ekanshena sthito jagat. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Ekamshena sthito jagat. Ekamshena sthito jagat. What is that one amsha by which he pervades and supports the entire universe? That is called Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Right? He pervades and supports the entire universe. Yes, Sonika Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhupada. The Supreme Lord is represented throughout the entire material universe by his entering into all things as the Supersoul. The Lord here tells Arjuna that there is no point in understanding how things exist in their separate opulence and grandeur. He should know that all things are existing due to Krishna's entering them as Supersoul. From Brahma, the most gigantic entity, on down to the smallest ant. All are existing because the Lord has entered each and all and is sustaining them. There is mission that regularly propounds that worship of any demigods will lead one to Supreme Personality of Godhead or the supreme goal, but worship of demigod is thoroughly discouraged herein because even the greatest demigods like Brahma and Shiva represent only part of opulence of the Supreme Lord. He is the origin of everyone born, and no one is greater than him. He is Ashamardhava, which means that no one is superior to him and that no one is equal to him. In the Padma Purana, it is said that one who considers the Supreme Lord Krishna in the same category with demigods, be they even Brahma or Shiva, become at once an atheist. If, however, one thoroughly studies the different description of opulences and expansion of Krishna's energy, then one can understand without any doubt the position of Lord Krishna and can fix his mind in worship of Krishna without deviation. The Lord is all pervading by the expansion of his partial representation. The super soul who enters into everything that is pure devotees. Therefore, concentrate their mind in Krishna consciousness is full devotional service. Therefore, they are always situated in transcendental position. Devotional service and worship of Krishna are very clearly indicated in this chapter, in verses 8 through 11. That is why of pure devotional service, how one can attain the highest devotional perfection of association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead has been thoroughly explained in this chapter. Srila Baldev Vidya Bhushana, a great acharya, is disciplic succession from Krishna, concludes his commentary on this chapter by saying यच्च चक्ति लेशत सूर्योदया भवन्ति ऐत्य युग्र तेजसः यद एमश अमेशना धृतं विश्वं सा कृष्णा दशमे रच्यते. From Lord Krishna's potent energy, even the powerful sun gets its power. And by Krishna's partial expansion, the whole world is maintained. Therefore, Lord Krishna is worshipable. thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purport to the 10th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in matter of opulence of absolute. Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.
Hare. Okay, so the chapter gets over here. Any question or
Hare
comment?
Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam.
Rama.
Prabhuji, in verse 37, it is written that the immediate expansions of the Lord is Swamsha, and the expansions are called Vibhansha. That means, and it is a separated expansion. But that means the living entities will come in Vibhansha, Prabhuji. But we are also part and parcel of Krishna. So how do we understand this?
I do not understand your question.
Prabhu-
The expansions, two
Yes,
kinds of expansions. So now don't confuse between the English and the Sanskrit. There are two types of expansions, Swa-amsha, Vibhinamsha,
yes.
right? Swa-amsha. Swa-amsha means it's himself expanding into another form of himself. Swa-amsha, right?
Yes.
And Vibhinamsha, he's expanding into a separate form. Vibhinamsha, right? So the Vibhinamshas are the jivas. Why? Because it's an amsha, but then it's not equal to him. It's vibhinna. It's different. So amsha is equal to him. Right? So when Krishna expands as Swamshas, those amshas are equal to him. Same in Tattva, Vishnu Tattva. When Krishna expands as Vibhinamsha, then that becomes different in Tattva, Jiva Tattva. Equal in quality, not equal in quantity. That's why it's called part and parcel. The others are called parts.
And parcel.
But these are called part and parcel.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Tulasi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So in text number 38, it says, among the confidential activities of hearing, thinking, and meditating, silence is most important because by silence one can make progress very quickly. In Krishna consciousness, the first thing that we do is chant, but we are taught not to chant silently. It has to be audible to some degree. What context is this written?
Good question, Mataji. So Prabhupada mentioned silence is good because in silence you can make progress. So here silence basically means keeping your mind peaceful. There are two kinds of silence. One is the silence of speech, and the other is the internal silence. So when you talk about gravity of mind, which means that your mind is silent, it's focused, it's thoughtful, it is deep. So that quality is needed to grow in Krishna consciousness as well. You be silent, which means you be inward, not outward. There are two ways to respond to a situation. Either you talk about it or you don't talk about it, but you mentally react to it. Right? So here being silent means that you don't even mentally react to it. And if you are silent like that, you can make a lot of progress in Krishna consciousness because then you are focused on the goal that you want to attain or you want to achieve. Another way of looking at the importance of this quality is, if you are silent both ways, like you talk less, and within the mind also you are not so much, bothered about things, then you can connect to the super soul. You can listen to the voice of the super soul, to your inner conscience. So in that way, silence helps. Now in Krishna consciousness, we are encouraged to speak, but we are encouraged to speak about Krishna. Rest of the time, we can practice silence.
Understood. Thank you, Prabhu.
But silence is a very good quality. Vrindavan Mataji.
Hare Krishna, my obeisances. Prabhu, we were hearing about Krishna's vibhutis today. Is the faith only way we can observe them? These vibhutis, they cannot be proved, isn't it?
The vibhutis cannot be?
Proved. We cannot only understand by faith in Krishna's words.
Well, please try to understand what is the concept of vibhuti. It's a perception. As Krishna says, these vibhutis are unlimited. What it means? What is the concept of vibhuti? If there is anything and something is standing out, something is better, something is greater, that greatness has to be seen as Krishna, coming from Krishna. So it's a perception. When Krishna says, among the birds, I am so and so, among the fishes, I am so and so. Well, you can even then say, among the fruits, I am so and so. Among the flowers, I am so and so. So like that, you can just keep on making a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger list. So it's basically your way of looking at things, consciousness. It's not on basis of faith that you have to accept, okay, lion is there, it's a vibhuti of Krishna. Amongst lions also, let's say there are 10 lions, and one of the lion is the most powerful. Then you see that power of that lion as vibhuti of Krishna. Yeah, you're seeing it. So it's your perception, because naturally we compare and we get attracted to something which is better than the other thing. Isn't it? That this is more powerful, this is more beautiful, this is more sweet, this is more pleasant. So that which attracts our mind, you should see that as a manifestation of Krishna's energy. So instead of getting attracted to that thing, then you start getting attracted to Krishna, because it is coming from Krishna.
Thank
Do you understand? So it's more of a concept. It's more of a concept.
There is another thing that bothers my mind. Yesterday we were comparing Shiva and Brahma, who is Aja, Manadim, and I wondered, hypothetically, if we have darshan with Krishna, how we will understand that he is God and it's not some mystical yogi, because they are very powerful beings in the universe. Even if we see Brahma or Shiva, we'll be amazed. If we met Krishna, how we will understand that is him?
If we meet Krishna, how will we understand that he is Krishna?
Because there are also beings that live on Vaikuntha planets that have this Svarupya liberation.
See, if your question is as simple as like you're walking on the street and you come across a person who is very powerful, very great, and he appears to be like Krishna. So how can you be sure that he is Krishna? If your question is like that, then please, you'll not bump into Krishna like that.
I know it's a hypothetical question. I'm just curious.
Well, in that sense, if there's nothing like, you can identify Krishna because people really bumped into Krishna, we know from history. And though they bumped into Krishna, they never realized that this personality is Krishna.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's nothing like, this is the way to identify him. Krishna can bewilder that person at that moment. And he can be seen as an ordinary human. So the only way to know that this person is Krishna is Bhaktya Mama Vijanati, by devotional service. By devotional service, Krishna is revealed. So if we have devotion to Krishna, pure devotion to Krishna, if Brahma comes in front of us, we'll know he's not Krishna, he's Brahma. If Shiva comes in front of us, we'll know that is not Krishna, it's Shiva. If we have that pure devotion towards Krishna. Okay.
Thank
you. Any other question?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I had one question from text number 29. Aryama and Yama are mentioned. Is there any relation between them? This name seems to be very similar. And he is the one who took place when Yama came down as Vidura.
In some places, it is mentioned that Yamaraj has two identities. One is called Yamaraj and the other is called Dharmaraj. So, in Patal, in hellish planets, he acts as Yamaraj. And in Pitralok, he acts as Dharmaraj. So, Aryama, the king of the Pitri planet or the Pita planet, is sometimes seen as an expansion of Yamaraj.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. And one more question, Prabhu. Text number 32. Vedas are mentioned, and there are 6 supplements of the. There's six supplements. So, what will they do? Any idea?
The 6 supplements are known as Vedangas. We studied that when we studied Sanskrit. One lesson on Sanskrit. I told you about the Vedangas. Vyakarana, Chanda,
Okay. Yeah.
Nirukti, right? Kalpa. Those are the 6 Vedangas.
Oh, okay, Prabhu. Thank you. Not pronounced.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, I want to know, Allah and Jesus, are they considered like demigods?
If you read Prabhupada's book properly, what do you understand from Prabhupada's explanation? What does Prabhupada tell about Jesus? What does Prabhupada say about Jesus in his books?
He is the Son of God.
He says Son of God. He doesn't say Jesus is a demigod. And then for Allah, what does Prabhupada say?
I think too in the George Harrison in his introduction to the Krishna book, like there is a prelude where he says that is also another name for God.
No, yeah, that's the name of God. But then what does he say about Allah?
Like he is the most powerful, something like that. Another opulence for God.
Correct. So it's the name of God. And for Prophet Muhammad, Prabhupada says he's a messenger of God. So Prabhupada makes it very clear. Nobody mentions a demigod.
So
Right?
those who are praying to them, are they in which mode are they? Like, are they in ignorance or?
Are they in ignorance or passion or goodness? That's the question.
Yes. How?
See, outside the Vedic path, if you are not accepting the Vedas, then you have any kind of faith. That faith is faith in ignorance, not accepting the Vedas. So following the path of Christianity, following the path of Islam, or following any other path is a non-Vedic path. So it is ignorance. Now, but within the ignorance, it depends on now what is your level of consciousness. So to some extent, then you can say, based on their consciousness, whether they're in goodness, passion, or ignorance. But then why such questions? Is it going to help us anyway?
I just want to know. Like this.
All right. So, Abhishek Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji Dhanapana. Prabhuji, in Shloka 35, it is referring about Gayatri Mantra. So is this that same Gayatri Mantra which we used to, learn Om Bhur Bhuvat Swa, or this is some other Gayatri Mantra?
There are many Gayatri mantras.
Okay.
Here is just said that of different verses, I'm Gayatri. There are many Gayatri mantras. There is a Gayatri for each deity. Right?
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
What is Gayatri? Gayatri is the sound which can be used to invoke the blessing or power of that deity. That's called Gayatri. So there'll be Gayatri for Brahma, there'll be Gayatri for Shiva, there'll be Gayatri for Devi, there'll be Gayatri for Saraswati, there'll be Gayatri for Krishna, there'll be Gayatri for Varaha, there'll be Gayatri for Narsingha. It's a mantra which is chanted to invoke the presence and the power of that deity. That's called Gayatri. So there are many Gayatri mantras.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Tulasi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So my question is relating to text 23 and 25, Mount Meru. Where exactly is Mount Meru in the universe? And it's sometimes movable. So the context here is that Himalayas is thus greater because it's not movable. How do I understand that? I'm not clearly understanding
Well,
that.
the detail about Mount Meru is given in Canto 5 of Srimad Bhagavatam when you study Vedic cosmology. So there you can study about Mount Meru. It's not really like a mountain that we see. Mount Meru is there's a nice documentary called Vedic Cosmology. You can go to YouTube and search for it. So Mount Meru is basically the plateau on which uh, you know mm, on which the different planetary systems are located. You should better to watch that movie. You get some idea what is Mount Meru.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
It's a golden mountain. Gunagrai Garang Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanapur. Prabhuji, how this Vibhuti yoga leads us to Bhakti yoga?
If you become Krishna conscious by looking at the Vibhuti of Krishna, then it leads to Bhakti. Bhakti means remembering Krishna.
Just to add to this, Koji, in Srimad Bhagavatam, I have learned one time I have heard that there is a 24 type of guru are there. I think, if I'm not mistaken. So we can learn from them and we can enhance our bhakti. So is it also comes under Vibhuti only, Koji?
The 24 types of gurus, there was an Avadut Brahmana who learned in his Krishna consciousness from these 24 entities, living entities. That's why they became 24 gurus for him. Fine. So it's not that you can learn from 24 only. You can learn from 40. And you'll have 40 gurus. For Avadut Brahmana, he learned from 24 entities, living entities. Okay? Fine.
Okay,
so that's how. It's not, but there's nothing like there are 24 gurus. Like that. You learn from them in his Krishna consciousness. Fine. We may not learn from them. I mean, we may just learn from their example, but we may not directly learn from an experience of them. Isn't it?
Koji, apparently it seems that Vibhuti yoga is quite easy. Is it so?
Easy in what sense?
Because this whatever opulences that mentioned is in material manifestation only, and in some extent is quite accessible for us or is visible for us.
That's why this chapter is explained, as Prabhupada mentioned in one of the purports. For those who cannot develop a connection with Krishna's spiritual potency, this is a way to develop a connection with Krishna through his material potency.
Okay. As you can see, Koji, before this confidential knowledge means 9th chapter, other yoga was mentioned. But even after mentioning that confidential knowledge, again this yoga is coming. So
because this yoga will help you, aid you in your Krishna consciousness 24 hours. Like, for example, you are a devotee. And being a member of the society, living in the society, you can't get completely disconnected from material creation of Krishna. So if you have this knowledge, then while doing your daily routine activities, you can look at material things, relate them with Krishna's power or greatness, and become Krishna conscious. In that way, it will help you.
Okay,
right? It will help you. In that way, it is better. But otherwise, this way of approaching Krishna is not that great. Like you see a normal materialistic person. That person may not see Krishna in Krishna Nam, but that person may see Krishna in the rainbow.
Yeah.
But we know Krishna's presence in Krishna Nam is much more than Krishna's presence in rainbow,
Yes, Prabhuji.
right? Isn't it? But for a devotee, this is like extra information or extra knowledge helpful to become more Krishna conscious.
Sure. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Usha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Sadhu Pranam. Prabhuji, Swamsha, we discussed that they are personal expansions of Lord Krishna. But though the qualities in all of them are the same, still the destination is slightly different. Krishna goes, if you are a devotee of Krishna, you go to Golok Dham, others you go to Vaikuntha. So why that slight difference, Prabhuji? And we are giving more emphasis on Krishna consciousness, not like Rama or other expansions of Krishna.
I did not understand the purpose of the question.
Purpose, Prabhuji, Swamsha, all the personal expansions of Krishna, Swamshas, right? And we discussed that the power and opulences are the same in all of them. But still, when we worship Krishna, we go to Golak Dham. But others, like if we remember Rama or Narsingh Dev, we are basically going to Vaikuntha. Though they are supposed to be on the same floor, they are only rooms. But why this slight difference? Just trying
Because of their nature, their rasa, their personal taste. The personal nature.
Okay. Yes.
Like, for example, Krishna likes to be in Vrindavan. Krishna feels at home in Vrindavan. That's his nature. But Lord Narsingh Dev would feel more at home in Vaikuntha, which is more opulent.
Yes, got it.
So that's their personal nature.
Yes, thank you so much. Got it.
Mm. Shriti Prabhu, I just had one question regarding the moon thing. The scientists refer to the moon as a natural satellite or upagraha, but Prabhupada says it's a star. How do you reconcile? Forget the scientists. Next question. If one tank is full with Krishna prem, then that will come anger. If anger is present, anger comes. Mataji, your English is very difficult to understand sometimes. If one tank is full with Krishna prem, that will come anger. If anger is present, anger comes when somebody asks question. Can you please explain your question? Prabhu, I want to ask, after initiation, people are so much arrogant because they not use practice bhakti. Very difficult to understand. All right, we stop here. See you next.